any puppets and vassals. The AI is always going to just be like, you had the Württemberg force being like, look at me, I'm helping. And you're like, you're not helping, Württemberg, you're not helping. But it looks like France is ready for round 4 or 5. This is just a slog. I mean, let's look at the casualties. The casualties have to be immense. Oh, man. Wow. Yeah, over 1 million people have died over a stretch of land that is not, like, can't, I mean, it can fit 1 million people, but, like, that is brutal. This has been a brutal war, very expensive. The question then is, where are the other players? Like we're all focused on Europe. I'm focused on Europe. But we also have these other wars. The British continue to expand in India. The Mughals are probably doing something. Moogly. They're expanding in India. So you have people consolidating, working together, sometimes against each other, to consolidate control of India into player hands. Let's see, I don't know, I'm thinking Oman must be a newer ally of Vahaganar, because otherwise, where were they when the Dutch were coming through? So this is very interesting. We then let's look at other areas. So, I mean, you still have this. Great Britain able to expand. So, like, yeah, Great Britain doesn't need enemies. So they can back everyone. They can just expand into the new world. Spain still has some room for expansion, but very sad at the moment. And it looks like we have another major battle, but the French are losing it. The Battle of Firenze. All right, so it looks like the French are trying to push deeper into Italy, and it is going to be close. It looks like the French actually have forces moving in sooner than the Eastern Allies can get there. And so if they can overwhelm these Prussian and Austrian forces, and Oman, is Oman in the war now? I mean, or were they always in the war? Oman. Yeah, I think they always were. Oh man. But yeah, like everyone is trying to take on France. But France just will not run out of people. And it looks like it's the East. The Eastern forces are the first to break. France has renewed momentum into Italy. Now, they're also out of people. I mean, they're not out of people, but like they don't have fresh troops on the front to push forwards. But neither do the Eastern forces. The Ottoman bloc, maybe. The Ottoman side. So it looks like things are going to tilt again. Florence coming back up with their forces. Things will tilt back in France's favor, potentially. The momentum is with them, but can they capture it and utilize it to lock down or retake a lot of these Florentine forces, areas that have fallen? The Russians are still in it. Trier's just been sitting back and drilling. Let's look at Trier's situation. I don't know what their history is directly diplomatically. Their army professionalism is quite low for all this drilling. Their economy is stable. They are pumping a little bit at... where's this going? If they have diplomatic expenses, but it's not going anywhere, what does that mean? They've got a little bit of inflation. And we do know that Cologne has some colonial possessions. And so those have got to be tempting targets to woo, to try and reach out and say, "Hey Trier, how can we help? How can you help us help you?" And same with Cologne. What you looking at, Cologne? For both sides, if they can, I mean, that would just that'd actually expand the conflict, and maybe that's not what either side is looking at. It could just be that both sides, if you're an onlooker, you're seeing this potential train wreck, and you're thinking, maybe I don't want to get on that train where 1 million people have died for a small patch of land in Italy. Maybe I don't want to open myself up. But at the tail end of the conflict, if you're about to get to the negotiating table and you're a smaller power, you might want to try and just leap in and grab a province, something like that. I haven't been a part of enough of these to really know the exact what the exact things that people can leverage through. Of course, we then have Ethiopia probably looking to rebuild, maybe try and expand. If they can, it's been a tough time for Ethiopia. And so you're probably just feeling a bit squeezed by like 3 other players. But there are opportunities in the west, potentially. I don't know if they can reach air, but if they can get there, they could do something, straddle Africa, try and get back into it. I think they're yeah, their development not the best. Oman doing very well. So everyone else around them, the people who have been their rivals, and they're about double the size in development. All right. And the Russians are really in it. There is only Russia. The Russians are taking on the bulk of the fighting, while everyone else licks their wounds. And so this is going to be a major... Oh! But what has happened here? The Ottomans have made some sort of a push, or it's just it's the Papal States. The Papal States have sent an elite task force into Spain and are able to snipe a few provinces there. It's not a force that the French have to worry about, but that's goofy. I like that. I mean, it's always goofy what the AI will do, where the AI will just show up in the weird places. I'm pretty sure that's an AI player. It is a puppet, yeah, puppet state, right? Or whatever. Or do they get to control them, like, directly? Is that a thing that can ever happen? Just realize that Vij is a player, right? They're not doing so hot. But everyone can come back. Like, if Austria can come back, then anyone can. So yeah, poor Württemberg, beaten by the French. Papal States doing some work, right? Papal States is helping. And where is Mordred today? Great question. I mean, he's on a trip. He's not here. That'd be weird, though, if he had, like, a secret alter ego who is shaved and American and doesn't look like him and isn't a Viking. But yeah, I mean, we've never been in the same room together. You never know. But no, he's in a field somewhere. There you go. I think, yeah, maybe camping. Maybe, I think he lives in Great Britain, right? And so I don't know what nature looks like to them. Because, like, here you go in the woods and then you die. But it's cool. I mean, you don't die because you plan ahead, but, like, you have Yellowstone, where tourists are falling over themselves to fall into stuff. Whereas a U.S. Dutch citizen, well, there you go. There you go. Oh. Well, that is cool. That would explain why his English is so good. And that, I mean, everyone in Europe not everyone in Europe speaks English, but, like, that's always helpful as an American to be like, you speak my language, I didn't have to do anything. Why try to learn when I can be an ignorant American? And so France is now, there's a bit of a stalemate on the Italian front. I think people are looking at opportunities to try to break through. Everyone calls him British. And he used to live in the US? Ooh. Well, it's a start, really. Even if it's not a major issue, it still does help tick up war exhaustion, rebels, when people backdoor provinces. So that's the other thing. That is true. Like, the Papal States have now made it into France. I don't think they can siege that down anymore. But yeah, the French are not winning this from a war score standpoint. Oh, Shakira. Or what was that? Oh god. Shakira. Something. Shark. Oh, it helps if I spell it right. Sharkia. Well, that is gonna tip the war score in their favor. So yeah, I think maybe France has tried to bleed them out in terms of manpower. The Ottomans able to raise probably some mercenaries, I imagine. No, these are regular troops. The Ottomans have conjured up some more forces. All right. But yeah, this is, despite the British, no. Oh, another major battle. All right, we got a major battle, this time for Modena. I think the French are starting to feel the pressure. They're trying to make sure that they're getting fight. No, the Ottomans are launching a major offensive. This is, yeah, I think things are starting to turn against France. They're running out of people, and things are. He is planning to go to the States for work, however, I'm not sure if that was starting this weekend. Oh. Let's see. Florence and Ottomans have a ton of army professionalism, so mercs are a no-no. Oh. Let's look at the professionalism of the French. They are not professional. We'll look at the professionalism of Florence, very professional. And we'll look at the professionalism, that's pretty professional, yeah. Alright, and they have the numbers. It does look like France is caught. Oh, they're gonna bring in some more troops though. And so I just think the Eastern Bloc, the Ottoman League, may have the momentum here after this battle. They are going, it looks like they're gonna win. The French just don't have the forces. And they've finally worn the French down. With all those, and the French retreat. This is a major victory for the Eastern powers. I think we're looking at a overall Ottoman victory. I think that's gonna change. The question is, are they gonna go to France and say, hey, we're gonna just keep this going, we're gonna wreck you until you give back some land? What is it? Because it's humans, so the negotiations can be different than with an AI. And so this is going to be a major question. I mean, it's been a huge cost. Will the cost have been worth it to every side of the war? Let's look at those casualties. I guess we can't see them individually. Or no, yes we can. Alright, so like, yeah, France has lost 600,000 troops. And on the Ottoman side, 400,000 for the Ottomans. 100,000 for the Prussians. 135,000 for the Russians. So this has been a very costly war. If you're not in this war, you're probably feeling pretty good. Seeing these major powers just bludgeon each other while you can just sit back and relax. You do have Commonwealth... Wait, alright, so you do have Commonwealth forces moving around. Have they entered the war? That's the other thing. The Commonwealth have not entered this conflict. They have the manpower. And, of course, Great Britain has not entered this conflict directly. They do suspiciously always have a really small amount of cash. So they are helping pay for some sides of the conflict. But my oh my. Let's see, if the Pope had brought about 10 to 15,000 instead of 7,000, then the French would have been forced to treat it as a threat. Yes, and let's see. You can slacken standards, which is basically you convert army professionalism into manpower. Oh, so that's a good reason to have high professionalism. All right. And that must be what the Ottomans have done. Definitely. Definitely. Yes. Oh, it only lowers it by 5%. Well, I think that would be the main reason to have professionalism then, for the manpower. Well, there you go. Alright, let's look around the world as well. The Mughals, not currently in anything. Looks like they've worked out some deal with the Russians for probably dividing up Central Asia. You then have Bengal. Oh. Are they still a person? They are. A person of pain. And of course we have like the Congo, living their best life. Ooh, Brazil and Argentina. When did they show up? Oh, Portugal, of course. Now, is Portugal usually a person? Or has the AI just done really well? And let's see, his US job isn't starting this weekend. Oh, by his, I mean Mordred. Oh, the Ottomans really ate through it. Ooh. Couldn't remember, sure, okay. So yeah, I think he's on like maybe a camping trip, something like that. Glamping, maybe? That's always a lot of fun. I think the last time I went camping, it was in the wilderness, but it was car camping, so we had all the things we'd want, and tons of food and stuff. It was a lot of fun. Got to see parts of Alberta that I'd never seen before. And Alberta is long. We drove 11 hours and got like halfway up the province. It was crazy. And we saw some a bear, and some moose children. Not moose. Elk. I think elk babies. Something. Anyway, the war continues. So the Eastern forces drastically in control. Looks like Florence, or Trier, is moving around. Alright, probably just helping put down some rebellions or so. And so yeah, you do have you have these neutral nations that all might be taking a side one way or the other. They all have diplomatic expenses. Oh. Denmark and France. Alright, so it looks like the Netherlands are helping out economically. Yeah, definitely a major war. Oh. Alright, so the French have stabilized, or they feel stable enough to launch another offensive to try and retake Milan. It seems like the other side is just willing to sit back and wait. It really is a slower burn. I mean, this conflict has been only going on for a few years. Never mind. A few years, yeah. So it is a very long conflict. Over 1 million dead, over 1.5 million dead in a war that is... Will there be a break at some point? That's a great question. I don't know if that's a... need to go to the bathroom. Oh no. And that's globally, whichever one. And so yeah, I am just a stranger in this. Get a bottle. There you go. Right? Yeah. Refreshing. And let's see. They need to put the hurt on France for sure. That's the one thing, right? Both sides able to get momentum throughout this war to control the north of Italy. And the war score is certainly in favor of the Ottomans. But they haven't been able to actually break France. They haven't been able to push into France. And so it's just a ticking war score at this point. One that is not anywhere near the top. I think if you're at max, after a while you just win, right? Like it will force your wishes on your opponent. But I think it has to be maxed out, I assume. And so it seems like they've maxed the war score that they're getting for controlling their target. But this is going to be a tough one to actually get in there and win the war. And let's see. You can't have France taking a massive bite out of Spain. That's the other part, though, right? Like they have to punish France, or else what will the lesson be? The lesson will be if you can take parts of Spain, you can just take parts of Spain. And so they're probably going to see it through to the end, or we're going to see maybe a few people drop out of the war, maybe a few people drop in. Let's try to look around, see if there are any other player conflicts going on. Maybe we have the Arcanus, Prussia, Gorm, Ottomans. Ooh, okay, Ethiopia is back at war with somebody. The Pazi conquest of Karaman. Where is Pazi? Oh. Karaman. Wait, what? What? I'm so confused. What's happening? Must be a different... No. Paraman, not Karaman. Parayaman. Okay, so the Ethiopians see opportunity abroad. And that's basically what they've got going for them. It is a tough world to be in. And Spain is at war with Tlapanek. Alright, so Spain is not sitting on their laurels or their haunches or wherever. They're not sitting idly by waiting to be conquered. They are expanding abroad. Because if they can get the wealth of the New World, them and the British are two major players, the only major players there, beyond South America, which is Brazil, Argentina, Inca. And so, and California, which is Portuguese. And so, and I guess the Swedish. Okay, so there are other players, but like the two major players in North America, you have the British and the Spanish. And so if the Spanish can harness that to undo this horrible situation, major battle. All right, major battle that was just lost by the French The French have withdrawn. Württemberg is bravely taking the lead. But it's still not a breakthrough. But that has got to be tipping. It is slowly ticking. That's another element of this battle. Looks like in terms of the Aegean Sea and the Mediterranean in general, it does seem like potential French dominance. Whoa, huge amounts of money.